Okay, I want to share some of my tips and best practices for engraving inside of Fusion 360. This function wasn't available when I first started using Fusion 360, and I love that it's in there now. So it's very useful. In this example, I just started with a box primitive, and this is where my first tip or best practices really begins. It's all about setting up your model correctly. If your height of your material or your stock is incorrect in your model, once you take it to your engraving machine, whether that be a CNC or something else, then the machine is gonna have a harder time with it. So I know that my 1/2" Baltic birch ply, the actual measured height of it is 0.485. So that's what I plug in here for my box primitive. Then after that, I just do a sketch layer or a sketch, and I put my text onto that. So here I've just done engraving best practices. And really from there, you can actually start moving over into the CAM workspace. So I'm just going to do that now. So here, as you can see, I've already got two toolpaths already set up for engraving. I can set up a new, or create a new setup just to show you how I'm doing this. For me, our ShopBot has a quick change spindle, and so all of our toolpaths need to be set up with a Z0 of the table, the top of the table, not top of material. So that's, again, why us having the appropriate height for our material is so important. So I can see here that our Z0 is set up on the top of table, and the axes are correct. You can look in here for what your stock needs to be. That all looks good. So now the simple solution is just go to your 2D work toolpaths, come down to engrave. You can choose your tool, which actually gets to the second tip or best practice, which is make sure that your angle is set correct on your tool. So here, this is just one of the tools that came with the ShopBot. It's a 60-degree V-bit, and I've set that up already. Make sure that the angle on your bit, I'm going to go ahead and go back to that, edit the tool. You see here the taper angle. Now that's essentially the angle of just 1/2 of this cutter. So if I type in 90 degrees here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So 90 would actually be a flat bottom or end mill essentially. So this is 60 degrees is the cutter, but if I do that, that's this this graphic here is really good to check what you're doing. So that is not the way my cutter looks. My cutter looks like that. So I'll go ahead and hit OK there, OK here. Skip over to geometry, and you can just click on this, the text. Heights is the next most important thing you've got to deal with. And for me, I'm always going to do my top height. You could do selected contours, but if you do a sketch that's on a plane that's offset from maybe your top surface, you want to make sure that, for me, I'm going to do my stock top here. I'm going to make sure that offset's 0. And for my bottom height, I'm going to make sure that that's my top height or stock top, whatever I want to set it at. And then here it says it's minus 0.8, which for me, that could go through my material into my workbed. I'm not okay with that. So I'm just going to go minus 0.48. I'll make sure that that won't go through my material that way. Hit OK. It's going to figure out the toolpath, and now you can see it. So if a trick here is you can turn off your model just so you can get a better look at just what's going on here. And then my final best practice is always simulate this. So I'm going to right click here, simulate. It's going to be on ceramic, which makes it nice. I'm just going to go ahead and skip to the end. I can zoom around and see what that looks like. So that's exactly how I want it to look. Everything looks good. It's not going through my material, but there is an engraving there. I'm going to hit close. One other thing you can do, I'm going to edit this. I'm going to set my top height to minus point, let's try 0.5. figure that out. And the only thing this really does is gives you kind of like a double line. It's shallower and the output's a little different. So we'll go to simulate, we'll run through it, and you can see, let's do a little smaller actually, edit, heights, -0.0, go really small, -0.02. That's going to look better. Simulate, run it through. And there you go. It's more of an outline as opposed to one single V-carve all the way through. So there you go. I hope these best practices and tips for engraving in Fusion 360 help you, and have a great day.